Welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with
CJ Lou from the Fired Up with CJ show. Woohoo!
If you've ever wanted to free yourself from smoke, shackles, and more, then we have the Wings of Change show for you. The Winging It show, too, as well. Today we'll talk about flying above the fray, seeing through the smoke, and coming out shining bright no matter what comes your way. That plus we'll talk about a 10-year circle, packing magic, and what in the world a guardian rooster has to do with anything. So welcome back to the show, CJ. Are you ready to shine?
I am ready to shine. Woo! Okay.
I don't even know where to begin. I can update everybody where I'm at because we've disappeared for a week or two. We had planned on going on RV tour. We had felt that we needed to move, but the signs were, we were getting signs and symbols fast and furious. We thought we were going to take our time and move after we came back from tour. But instead, the way the planets aligned, we're moving simultaneously with tour, which means we are on a 7-day counter to pulling out on an RV to destination unknown. Our stuff is in storage for destination unknown. And
wait, you know where you're going? You mean to where? Do you know where it's going to be stored, or that's also?
I know where it's going to be stored, but I don't know where we're going when we get quote home. I don't actually know whether home will still be in this valley, whether home will be someplace else. We are open. Like I said, I'm winging it. I was whistling Jack the Knife for some reason from oh my God. Is it Frank Sinatra? I don't even know. Before this, I am allowing into everything to a level I've never allowed before, and I want the universe. Universe is clearly sending us on our way. We are clearly getting the message, and I am not going to try to drive this ship.
So you're open to, it may be that you're not even going to be back in Colorado. Like, you really don't know even where you're going to be. But you know how long you're going to be gone for, right? Like, you have the vehicle only for so much time.
Yeah, we're going to be gone for 50 days. I'd say it's 50-50 whether we come back to Colorado. I am absolutely in love and enamored with this state. And I've been here on and off, more on than off since 88. But I can also recognize a butt kicking. And the last few months we have been filleted here. and that's never a bad thing. In the moment, because I look at how when we got kicked off of Maui, and let's be honest, we're getting launched out into the world here. I don't even know why. But when we got kicked out of Maui, it was hugely for our good. Jessica's health got better. Our show took off. The coaching took off. Everything good came out of that hurt time period. We are feeling in the same place as well. Now, situation's completely different. Home situation, economics, health, all of that is completely different. And yet there is a mirroring. And we know something magical will come out of it. It doesn't mean it's any more comfortable right now. As you saw me whistling and trying to figure out how do I do a mobile studio on a folding desk. Figured it out. But it's all here to serve us. And so if I can remember that, forget about remembering it 100% of the time. If I can remember it at least 51% of the time, then I'm in the positive.
Right.
And at 49% of my time, I'm going, oh my God.
Well, what is happening with the smoke? You said free yourself from the smoke and shackles. What has been happening for you?
Well, the smoke, all of the smoke from the West Coast gathered itself up, packed its bags, and took itself to the mountains where it got hooked up on the mountains. And so while we had a forest fire at our front door, 4 miles from the house is the closest it got, through the end of August, we got a week to breathe. and then all of the fires from California, Oregon, Washington, which I'm sure you'll share about, all of that got sucked east right to the Rockies. And our air quality went from bad to worse. And so Jessica got sick again with the smoke. We didn't have as much ash falling from the sky. But it's been since the beginning of August that we've been sucked in. It's been, I think today's day 2 of decent air quality. You can still see a lot of smoke, but it's it's so minor at this point, relatively
Is it
speaking.
140? What's the number, Michael? Now I can communicate by numbers. It's like, oh, it's 50. Oh, it's 140. Oh, it's
I,
160. Don't
I'm
go
gonna
out. It's 544.
I'm gonna guess it's a 77
Okay,
right
that's not
now.
so bad.
No, no, no. There's no complaint here. And this morning, I think we had a 44. It came out of the hundreds 2 days ago. So we will take it. Now the big question: the RV tour has been where are we going to go with the smoke? And what I got out of automatic writing, and one of the spirits that I write to is my pet Mole who passed away last year.
Yeah.
And he said, shoot the gaps, Daddy. Look for where the numbers are low. Now, right now, you guys have gotten a little bit of rain from what I understand, and maybe we're good, but we're going to shoot the gaps. We're going to look for where the smoke levels are low, but we're like, we never thought to ask this question. How many air filters will we be taking on the RV?
I know. I mean, I was like, should I buy? Is this a part of me thought so? Our air quality on starting last Thursday went precipitously low, like unhealthy to go outside. There's for people who aren't familiar with those numbers are there's an air quality index. So for people who are on the West Coast, we're looking at the air quality index, and there's like red, orange, yellow, green.
I'll
And
give a great website for people.
yeah.
I call it Purple Rain, I guess for Prince in the song Purple Rain. It's purpleair.com. And it is a private network of you buy your own test center, and then it speaks via Wi-Fi. And so it's been a way that we democratize, so to speak, air quality, because there are a lot of places where there aren't air quality sensors. And so
Oh.
now the public can take charge of their own air quality. And so we've been watching purplerain.com or
So
purpleair.com.
you actually have a filter, you have a sensor in your house so you can figure out in your specific neighborhood what the air
Well, you
quality is.
can. We didn't put one up because we're moving, but we have someone in the neighborhood. We have someone only a couple miles down the road. There's someone on the other side of us. So you get this whole network of filters because it is microclimates, and it can vary one neighborhood to the next how much depending on the hills, whether you have a lake there, whatever you've got. One neighborhood could be socked in, the other one could be perfectly healthy.
Yeah, and just for a frame of reference, Oregon, which was a flame, was like 504. Oh, and we get to see your house. Oh, how cool. And we get to see Ruru. Oh, hi, Ruru. This is the best show ever. I think actually moving around, this allows me to see your house. It allows me to see.
So
I didn't realize that you lived in a log cabin.
we live in a log cabin. There's Tessie. She's dirty because the road was under construction today, so she's got mud all over her. There are the e-bikes we're going to talk about, some Amazon stuff for the RV, Jessica's sweatshirt, what do we call that? A kitty carrier that Lumi found he can knock the zipper out of yesterday. We got Ruru right here on camera. There's the Ruru cam. So, and he's growing up to be a beautiful rooster. We'll talk about him later because he's a part of this journey. So yeah, we're outside in our log cabin. We love this home. We love nature. We love all the animals here. But we can recognize the signs and symbols when they're hitting you over the head with a 2x4, saying you've stayed too long. It's time to go.
Wow. All right, got it. So you've been through the smoke. We actually
So
went.
so what's your AQI now, and how did you handle that? Some people handle it great. Jessica is one of the many who do not handle it so well.
I have asthma, as does my son, and we have filters in the house from the last fire from last year, and so that's helped immensely. And I wear a mask each time I go out, and I think so physically fine, emotionally. I just completely dissolved into a puddle. Like COVID, staying inside all the time with COVID, and when I thought the saving grace with COVID and the weather, it being during the spring and then falling into the summer, was that I could take any anxiety and discharge it by going for a run, going for a walk, being out in nature. And when that was eliminated, I think I just I hit the null set. It was kind of like, like I could not deal. I could not deal anymore. I'm gonna have you tip your camera so I can see the top of your head. So so I was just, I could not deal with it. And so I think I just basically dissolved into a puddle of, I literally just got numbed out. I talked to a friend of mine who senses energy and he's like, you're just numb. And I was like, I am. And like it, you don't even know that you're numbed out, but you've hit some type of level, toxicity level that you can't take. Oh my gosh. We see
There's a reason.
Ruru's.
So if I move the laptop around, is that we're still working on the litter training, and we don't want an accident to happen with the port, so to speak, over the computer.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And for those who are listening on the radio, we just saw Ruru walking by on top of Michael's
And
computer.
Ruru is at this point our guardian angel, Rooster. We'll explain more why in a little bit. But that has been part of the saving grace is we have gotten so much smoke that we have surrendered to a level we couldn't surrender to before. It knocks you to your knees.
It does.
And it has such a fight or flight component to it that, like last week I said I had 5 brain cells. Right now I said I'm operating with 2. And and that's a comeback from where it was a couple of days ago.
I totally get it. So I was going through all this, and then by last Tuesday, a week ago, almost a week ago, I was in the grocery store and I was listening to. So I was trying to do something with all the energy that I had that weekend. So I decided to clean my office, and my office looks spectacular, except for I was pulling out these files of stuff and like going through my files and cleaning out files and putting them in different storage boxes, and like I literally found stuff in my shelves from 2012. That's how long I hadn't cleaned out my, and so I was like stacking all the stuff from 2012, and I had a whole bunch of these documents that I printed out, and I would look in these courses that I took, and some of them actually I was like, this is a great course. I'm like, oh, I created this course. And then I was going through all this stuff, and I had put a big pile in my bookshelves, and then there was like a little gap in the bookshelf where the carpenter couldn't have it too close to the wall for fire reasons, whatever. Anyways, those shelves then proceeded to slide behind the bookshelf and in between this precarious little spot, which I then had to disassemble all the bookshelves to get these files. And then when I looked at the files, I started thinking, oh, wow. Like all of my work is based on other people's work. And I don't create anything really original. And the stuff that I created isn't hugely different than what I created before. And it's been 7 years. But this is based on the stuff that I had. It wasn't, but I was stuck in that little mindset regardless. And then I created a whole narrative of like, oh my gosh, you're just mediocre. Because I was doing this workshop.
The fight or flight mechanism at this point is looking for danger anywhere. It smells smoke.
I was just like, I was listening to an MP3 while I was going into Whole Foods shopping, while I had my mask and was smoke outside. And then this one MP3 was like, one of the shadows that you have of your people, born in this gene key is mediocrity. And like, you never create anything original. So it just like hit me, right? It was like, an arrow in my heart. And so then I went on to this workshop, and I was like, and they're like, does anyone have any questions? And I was like, yeah, what happens? And I just started crying, crying and crying. I was like, oh my God, I'm online with 130 people, and I'm just crying and crying. Like my heart felt like it broke in half. Like when I had created that story that I was mediocre and like all my work was derivative and such, and I haven't learned anything over the last couple. I mean, I literally, and then this weekend, I like finally, when I was going on a walk, finally, I was like, what am I talking about? Like I learn with every single week. I'm reading a book every single week. I have like so many spiritual teachers.
Even if you try.
It's just, I have all these spiritual teachers. I'm doing shamanic drumming with a bunch of lawyers and business people. Like
between you and me, is what you're saying is just what Jessica a couple of days ago said, and I love her so dearly. And I think it was just in a rough moment. She said, "You haven't changed at all in the last 10 years." And if you're 50 now, when are you ever going to change? You haven't changed a bit. That wasn't her speaking. That was the smoke and the fire speaking.
Oh,
And then so your little self that is saying, you haven't changed. You haven't done anything for yourself. You haven't, is the smoke and fire
I
speaking.
just you can't. Someone said to me, they said, you know what? I realize that I can't think clearly because they say that because of the level of oxygen in your brain, which is diminished with the smoke, you can't think clearly. I'm like, I know. When I was pregnant, I couldn't think clearly for like 9 months, and it really does affect you. So, but here's the great thing: that breakdown led to a breakthrough, which is like, wow, look
Yes.
how hard you are on yourself. Really? Like you've done all these great things. Like you know, you're learning all this stuff. Like you were learning a ton. Like you learn way more. You're learning and growing faster than most people do, and you're integrating that with your work. And I've been integrating in that in this kind of scary kind of flying the ship while I'm building it. You know, kind of like flying the plane when I'm building it, whatever that phrase is.
In
I've been
Silicon Valley, what is it? Jump off the cliff and grow wings or
yeah.
build your wings on the way
Yes,
down.
that's exactly what I've been doing with my work, and sometimes with not great results, like ways, you know, because I'm trying new things with the coaching work that I've been
Good,
doing,
good, good.
and it feels scary. It feels really scary to fly without wings, and there were a couple times where I don't think I did an amazing job because I'm experimenting. And what was so great is I said to the people I work with, I'm like, hey, I wanted to check in because I tried a couple things and I wanted to see how it went for you. And then they told me, and I said, I just want to deeply apologize because I'm trying new things, and sometimes they're going to land and sometimes they won't. I will adjust accordingly. And just doing that did so much to build rapport. It was like all of a sudden, like we were in a partnership together. It wasn't like I'm leading you and you're following me. It's like we're in this together, and sometimes I'm going to be making mistakes potentially, and I need your help. You know, I know what I'm doing, but yeah, like I realize like I'm the Sherpa. I've been in this territory, but I'm traveling your mountain and I don't know what your mountain looks like. And sometimes I make mistakes. I'm going to go down the wrong path. And that was just like, whew, so nice to actually have that honest dialogue with people. It was just freeing. And again, like all my worries and concerns, the person's like, I never, yeah, no, I figured that we were in this together and we did the best we could. I mean, just like, but I had created a narrative that like was so diminishing. Um, so that was my equivalent of freeing yourself from smoke and shackles to the
It's so
wings of
it's
change.
so it's so beautiful. And Ruru was stretching his wings while you were saying that one at a time. He stretched one wing with one leg, and then he stretches the other
Thank
wing
you,
with the other leg. It's
Wuru.
like yoga poses. It is a time of experimenting, of grand experiments, and of total and complete faith. So we've packed up most of our business. We've shut down a lot of our classes. We've cut back on coaching temporarily. Everything. And Jessica's going, are we going to be all right? And I'm like, and first off, to finish the other story, today she said, wow, you're so much better at a packer this time around. So the whole
Ah.
10 years thing, and it was the smoke talking, but the ego is going, are we going to be all right?
Mm,
And yet, I know we have to let go of this old way of doing, every single one of us. Such a leap of faith we get to take and put ourselves out there and just know something great is going to come out of this. If you 51% in the light, 49% in the dark, that's fine. You step forward, just know. Again, don't know where we're going, don't know how we're doing it, don't know, don't know, don't know, don't know. And if I did know, I'd be in trouble because that's the old. And we're being called. You broke down to let go of the old. And you
yeah,
had already a new level of honesty and openness, which is huge
yeah,
because you broke down, because you experimented.
yeah, yeah. And it's so hard. It was so painful. I don't know if I was on my knees, but I was just like, you know, it's kind of like when you're a little kid and you're like, oh, I did a bad thing, like that kind of thing. But it was just really, it was a really good experience nonetheless. So I want to, so now you're getting better and you're packing. Um, I want to hear more about Ruru and the 10-year circle.
Well, 10 years ago, we went out on a book tour. It's cool. I'm looking off in the distance. A rabbit has just appeared. I love it.
Ooh, that's my little animal this
Oh,
COVID
cool.
time.
We've
Yes.
got a rabbit. I don't know if the camera on this would pick it up, but we do have a rabbit in the driveway. So 10 years ago, we went out on book tour. And I've had a hard time not calling this book tour on occasion. This tour we're going on, which has no book involved. And in fact, I should talk about the book in a few minutes because I had to put the pause on our awe book for a few days.
Oh
But,
no.
but before that, we went out on tour. We had ended a lease. At that time, we didn't know how we were going to pull it off. We had the basic layout. We didn't have a dollar to our names. I think we used our last dollar or something at the, what was it, the parking meter to ship off our book to the publisher so that the printer so they could print it so we could actually make some money. Hard on a book tour to make money when you don't actually have books in hand.
Right.
But it was this whole set of circumstances that appears on one level to be identical today that it was 10 years ago. And so
Mm,
ego certainly goes, my God, what have you guys done with your lives?
mm,
But nothing's the same. But the circle appears it. And this happens to all of us. And
mm.
so we're all looking at our relationships or our jobs or our something. And we're forgetting that, hey, there's a global pandemic. Hey, this is a time of an election unlike anything we've ever seen before. Hey, there's this. Hey, there's that. Hey, there's. And instead we go, what have I done with my life? And I'll call it maybe a Mars retrograde. It is this massive returning to see how much we have changed
Right.
and where we get to go. And so on one level, it all looks the same. On another level, for you, on one level, it all looked the same. On another, and you can go, and my kids are here. Didn't I even send them off to college?
Exactly. Well, I think it's the thing that we've been repeating throughout this whole COVID. It's reaching to a point you're like, things are going to change and I'm going to rattle your cage to the point that any fearful you that was there before, I'm going to rattle. I'm going to put a gigantic spotlight on it. And now you can see, because like our survival instinct, whether it's a smoke or COVID or both, um, or floods, whatever it may be, it's like triggering our survival system, and you can see where all your old patterns start coming back in. Either pattern beliefs, pattern behaviors. Like I pounded through a half bag of popcorn. It was delicious, and I just couldn't stop. And I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
I wish I had your problem right now. I have been so nauseous over the last week and a half
Oh,
of getting everything moved that I am like, we
can't
don't
eat.
have junk food in the house. I want some junk food so I can keep some calories on me.
And our junk food, I love our junk food because the junk food that we have are things like bonito chips, or like they're like chips made out of black beans, but they're so good. That's enough. Or like a power bar or something, or but still, it's like it's enough of an indulgence that I feel like okay. Oh, I'm sorry that you're going through such a hard
We're
time,
going through,
Michael.
and I'll tell you about the e-bikes in a minute. We're going to go
Yeah.
for an e-bike bike ride to Whole Foods, and we're going to rate it after this, just even for some of the basics.
Highly
I put an
recommend
order a few days
Bonitos.
ago.
Dark chocolate almonds too.
All
Also
right,
great.
Benito, we'll look this up. So one of the things that I've learned, and it's interesting. So my friend Carrie Kurenko, who is my dear friend and group project partner through my two master's degrees, she committed suicide a year later. A
Mm,
brilliant girl. Everything going for her on the surface. Underneath, there was negative messages that she was giving herself,
mm,
and she couldn't move past those negative messages.
mm.
And there's some huge parallels with today, which is we are each, just like you did, creating story in our minds right now. Everything is story. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I'm mediocre. I'm in the same place I was before. I haven't done anything with my life. I. And we have a choice right now. And I say this like our lives are fa la 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 la. It's been it's been full on or I'd be eating normally. I have a choice, just like Carrie did, to create a story. I can create a story of victimhood, of poor me, of bad me, of this me, and go to the dark side, which will actually give me a rush of adrenaline at that point. Somehow it'll feel good to even attack myself. But there is only one logical conclusion. I will crush myself into the ground. Or I get to each and every opportunity choose a different story.
It's funny because not surprisingly, right before talking to you, I was listening to um, like Gene Keys again with Richard Rudd, and he was talking about that this time right now is we were reaching this pivotal point in which we move from victimhood to freedom, and I was thinking about that the other day because I thought I've been making phone calls on the behalf of the Democratic Party, and I was looking and thinking like, why are we blaming one person for all of our miseries, right? Like, it's so much easier to blame a person. And I found myself, like, I was trying to cry and I was telling my husband and he went right to the rational mind. And then I was like, oh, it's you made me do that, And it's like, why am I blaming him? He was trying to help me. He just, oh, I see a little wing flickering in front of your face.
Well, that's tail feathers there. I get to move the monitor. Tail feathers on the wrong side. Can you hear me? Sounds like a turkey right now. He's preening himself for bedtime, and so the minute we're done,
he's
going to
go
ready for bed, and he's probably going to fall apart in a few minutes because when he gets what's the term for not cranky when you're tired. He gets tired when it's bedtime. And it is just about bedtime. And he's had some long days with us getting up in the 4 o'clock range to get packed or return rental vehicles, which I guess we did this morning, a rental van, and pick things up. And
people who are listening, just turn on the video at 35 minutes and just look because you will also be laughing your head off. I can't see him. I just see shadows. Oh my gosh. I just love this.
So
to not be a victim, to own up and say, you can be free of even blaming one person, some people, a whole party, a whole, race, like whatever victim.
This is all an inside job.
It really is. It's not to be a victim anymore.
The outer world is a reflection of what's going on in the inside, and as soon as we change that as a collective, everything changes.
Yeah, this was what this MP3 I was listening to is that we have this opportunity. The whole collective consciousness is shifting, and we have an opportunity to shift with it or stay behind. This whole kind of like, we're moving on, we're going to, some of us will take off and some of us won't. Well, there are going to be people who are not willing to change and not willing to adapt to whatever is happening. And there are going to be people who are going to get into a van and travel for 50 days and not know where they're going or where they're going to come back to. Like, that is the ultimate of embracing, like, okay, I'm not going to be a victim about it. I don't know where I'm going, and I'm going to have ultimate faith and trust that the universe will take me where it needs to, and this is all for my highest good. But it really takes a while to get to that, and I think it's really, and I think the other thing that this MP3 was saying that I really love is that, part of this is disintegration of the systems that we could blame. It's the banks, it's the politicians, it's something that you can point to, right, and judge and blame versus saying like, as long as I still have greed in myself, then I am part of the issue. So until I work and heal myself and everything is in my dominion and control, it all happens. It's an inside job. It all happens here. So if I have greed, fear, anxiety, hatred in any form, right, then when I see it outside and it resonates with me, it just means that there's more work that I can do, and that will help move the collective. And that it's like what I love was the idea, and I don't know if it's true, but it kind of makes sense to me. As one boat rises, the rest do as well. So when
Rising tide raises all ships.
yeah, so when Michael does his work, when CJ does his work, it's helping other people who aren't maybe vibrating at as high of a frequency to also rise. And when my spiritual teachers do their work, it helps me to rise. Like it's all one big gigantic wave. We see them as individual parts, but we're all together and we're all on this wave moving along. And if you want to be a pebble and not move, or like a gigantic rock, then that's your prerogative. But this wave is happening. And if you don't point fingers, don't judge, don't blame, and just be with what is, I think it's a lot easier, right?
Well, the other way is, as to quote Mr. T from, what is it, Rocky 3, pain. When you try to hold on through this time, you are going to be like an oak in a hurricane versus a palm tree. You're not going to bend, you will break.
Yes.
And in all of this, we're saying, if I step back, I'm hearing so many cliche lines from the both of us. It sounds almost like we're talking fortune cookie land. But the truth of the matter is, we have to let go in this time. We have to let go. My editor I love her dearly, breathing down my throat last week saying, we have got to get this to the publisher. And I said, because it had gotten delayed with COVID, it needs to get in for its January publishing. And I'm like, I can't do it. I can't believe I'm saying that. But if we make deadline, we make it. If we don't, we don't. But I have to let go. I have to let the universe decide what I'm going to get done and what I'm not right now, rather than to try to fight this. Doesn't mean I give up, quite the reverse. But I have just got to follow where the energy is going right now and let go into all of it, or it really, really hurts.
Yeah. I'm so in awe of you, Michael. The the idea of you being in your whole, it's like the ark. Like you have the ark. This vehicle is like the ark, and you like have a little tow thing, a bike.
Election, so we're gonna be in the ark. Who knows what will happen?
You got chickens, cats. I don't know what else is gonna get in that ark as the tides come in.
I'm waiting for the puppy. The puppy will appear. We know it. The puppy knows it. It's already chosen us.
It's just waiting out there to go as you travel the gaps. It will be just appear out of nowhere.
Okay, and we're going to be back on the East Coast, so if stuff really gets interesting, we can scoop up our parents. And
exactly.
I like it.
Yes, I think you can go. It's the Phoenix. I like the Phoenix name better, but it has an arc-like vibe I'm getting from it. So far, no mice. I mean, you had your mice from your garage, but, we'll see. I look forward to seeing who else travels with you in that van. I know it's not just chicken and cats. I know that with my heart of hearts. I just don't know who else is going to be in there.
Jessica said, if you want the good life, all you have to do if you're a non-human two-legger or a four-legger is throw yourself in front of our vehicle at a low speed. And we will scoop you up and give you the good life.
I love it. All right. So anything else? I have only one other thing. How about you?
Just we got these e-bikes last week, and it's so sacrilege. I'm a former pro bicyclist or cyclist, and to do, I'm not going to ride an e-bike, blah, 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 blah. We got e-bikes because the tow vehicle for the RV wasn't going to work out.
Yeah.
And we are just following the flow, and we had the hardest time figuring out with the mind which bike to get. But then the heart made it very clear which one we should get. We got these mountain bikes, which we weren't planning on getting. And we have been cruising all up and down this valley together in ways we've never done before, because we live up on the side of a mountain and you can get home now.
Wow.
This has just been so cool. So it is letting go of who you think you are, what you need, what you don't need, what you'll ride, what you won't ride, and letting go of all of the silly story. And saying, all right, let's try it out. Maybe this happened for a reason. And now it's the greatest gift that we didn't have a tow vehicle, because these e-bikes are really, really cool. and are going to serve us well past this tour. And we're going to get to go and explore and bond. And it's just such a cool thing coming out of left field. It was not planned
Yeah,
at all.
I love it. I love it. And so the e-bikes were going to be pulled by the trailer. Is that what's happening?
Well, it's just going to be an RV with a bike rack on the back with the e-bikes attached.
Oh, I love it. That's so simple, clean.
Very simple, and you get off of whatever town you are or national park, and you take off the bikes, and you pedal, and it pedals with you. And so the faster you pedal, the faster it goes. But you don't have to work that hard, and you zip on into town. You can zip on out of town. We were supposed to be getting a kayak to take with us. We couldn't actually find a kayak. Who knew the world is sold out of new kayaks? But they are. So.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I only have one other thing to share.
The Rooster. Oh, that's the last thing. Yes, I've been looking at
Yes.
that Band-Aid. You go first. And
I
then
just
I'll-
this
and
is
then
a
I'll
reminder for everyone to get their flu shots. That's
All
it.
right. Very good. Ruru, yesterday we found out that we had a dear friend, Ann, over who is helping us to pack. And we found out that we've been watching Ruru to keep an eye on him. He's about a 7-month-old rooster. And it turns out that he started guarding the house from Ann. And so he is a protect his flock rooster. We've been watching out for him, but he's actually watching out for us.
Aww.
It's the coolest, cutest thing.
What does he do?
Oh, he chased her down and blocked her from the door, and this is kind of like saying being proud of your child beating up another child, and I would never condone that. But he kicked her in the in the calf to try to keep her from getting in the house.
Did she get hurt or is she okay? Because they have like talons, right?
Sure.
Doesn't that have like claws?
No real big claws or anything. So
Okay, that's
10-pound
hilarious.
little at this point, and I don't even know if he's just 10 pounds. But it didn't really hurt her. It did leave a mark on her blue jean. But he was trying to protect us.
Oh, that's so cute. But does he
idea.
like claw your eye? Could he like take a beak and chew
No.
your face off?
Well, if you put your eyeball in front of his beak, I mean, that's like going to a dog that you don't know and putting your hands in his mouth. I mean, why would you do that? But he doesn't have sharp claws. Eventually, some of them of this breed, some will get a spur, some won't. If he does grow a spur, we will
Shave it off,
down. So. But
It's like a little razor, but the spurs are like the razor blades. It's like right there.
Comes out of him someplace, but he's so bonded with us that he wants to take care of the family. And
Oh, so cute. I
it was
love
just such a
it.
sweet thing. So that's all I've got from here. I am just so encouraged. This time period on the surface looks so horrible. I go up and down just as much as everybody else, but I will bring it back from the story each time. And like Jessica was asking this morning, why are you in such a great mood? Because this is energy, and I'm excited. It's go time. It's momentum. We can use, you said it's a wave. We can actually use this wave for awesomeness, not just
Yes.
goodness, certainly not mediocrity. We can take this and turn this into something incredible right now.
Yay! Woo!
So on that note, any last words of wisdom, CJ?
I'm good.
So for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler and
CJ Lou from the Fired Up with CJ show and Ruru going to sleep soon.
yeah, Rupert's going to go to bed in about 30 seconds here, saying be well, have fun. Realize it's so true. Objects in the mirror are not as they appear to be. Write your own story of what this looks like and what you want it to look like. And above and beyond all else, shine bright.
Woo!
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show and would love your support in any way by giving me comments below or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.